there have been some ideas that have been haunting me, and usually I used to write all the time. I have a journal, I have years of journals, and I embarked on this to enter into a type of willed introversion where I unplug from a main mode of expression, which was my writing in my journals, and I'm entering into this video blog, and it's not the same at all, but I'm letting myself grow into it. Uh, so there's a lot of energy that usually has a vehicle of expression that's very well developed, and this is not well developed at all for me, and it's not a compare and contrast to other people's blogs, though that helps me somewhat. I have to come from myself. I have to come from my own place, and this is what's produced. Anyway, what I would write about, I'd have these flashes of illumination, these ideas, these concepts. And I don't know where they lead, and oftentimes they can be interpreted metaphorically rather than literally. But I don't know at the time. It's like a premonition. It's filled with sensation, filled with this experience of awe and realization. So the other day I was talking to a friend, another friend. I'm very grateful for all of my friends I have. And I was explaining to him that you could imagine the universe exploding and imploding, exploding and imploding, and we're still expanding. The universe is still expanding, but time doesn't exist prior to the contraction, and everything comes together just before that Big Bang. At the Big Bang, time begins. But before that, all existence ceases. And so there is no time. Existence can only be in time. So as far as this life cycle goes of our universe, I explained to him the metaphor of the Hindu perspective of, I think it's Brahma, that falls to sleep, or Vishnu, or one of those guys, falls asleep, and then out of his belly button a lotus grows, and that's our universe. So our universe is created out of the dream of the Godhead, so to say. And when the God awakens, the universe dissolves. And the flash that came to me was in relationship to, I think it was Oswald Spengler, a clip that was recently done by John David Ebert. He's here on YouTube. You can look him up. John David Ebert. And it was his recent talk on Oswald Spengler and technics. And having had that conversation just after I had listened to this talk on Spengler, I had this vision that it's expanding in all directions, and that our life cycle, it's a life cycle, and that if you drew a circle around the timeline that is our universe, the distance from where the center of the Big Bang, where the Big Bang occurred, to where we are, and then drew a circle around it, there would be life forms equivalent to us. Farther out, something different. Closer in, something different. And for me, these visions for me help because I have this view that the larger picture duplicates the smaller picture, or the smaller picture is a copy but in miniature, of the larger picture. And so the life cycle of the universe could very well be understood as the life cycle of a human being, and perhaps even the life cycle of our relationships. Every relationship has a life cycle. It goes through metaphorical processes very similar to what scientists may term the evolution of our universe. So for me, thinking in this larger view and the smaller view, and having this dual perspective of how I can experience something in the moment, but if I can expand my view and say, well, on a larger view, this is like an asteroid flying close to our planet, for instance. That happened yesterday. An asteroid flew close to our planet. Well, what happens is a human experience is had in relationship to a cosmic event. And I don't think of these things literally. I think of them as possibilities, as working hypotheses. Does it work? Does this perspective work? And it comes to me as my perspective, and that gives it existence. That makes it my own. And I don't hold any of them too seriously. And I find that when we press and press and press ourselves into new experiences and greater heights of endeavor, our experience becomes inflamed and distorted, and then we need to create these huge cosmologies and religions, these purposes, these reasons, these meanings, to propel us through. And what happens is we disassociate ourselves from our experience, and we become this larger-than-life participant, which is all too natural. I don't think it's abnormal. I think it's very common.